You weren't targeted by accident. You were selected, specifically because of your intelligence. Before you even realized it, your high IQ was already being mapped. To someone who understands behavior, your analytical mind is not protection. It is a pattern. The way you think, the way you hesitate, the way you try to understand instead of react, those are signals. And the right person can read those signals in seconds, then use them to move around your defenses without you even noticing. You have felt it before. You meet someone. Nothing obvious is wrong, but something feels slightly off. A comment that does not land right. A tone that feels just a little too sharp. And instead of reacting, you analyze. Maybe I am overthinking. Maybe there is a reason. Let me understand this first. That moment is the opening. Because while you are trying to figure them out, they have already figured you out. And once they understand how your mind works, they do not need to push you. They just let you walk yourself into it. It starts with the way you think. You call it overthinking, but it is not that simple. You are not overthinking. You are running a process they do not even have installed. You see patterns, you connect variables, you try to understand the logic behind behavior. But in a social hierarchy, that process is a tax. Because while you are analyzing every possibility, they are acting with one objective: control. You replay conversations, you search for meaning, you try to make sense of something that was never meant to make sense. And while you are doing that, you are giving them time. Time to escalate, time to test, time to adjust. You are not confused, you are giving them space to move. And the more you do it, the more predictable you become. They do not look for weakness, they look for patterns. You give people the benefit of the doubt. You just sit with it. You wait before you react. That tells them everything. You have seen it in small ways. The person who only comes to you when they need something done right, the one who never asks in front of anyone else, the one who knows you will not say no, or the friend who leans on you emotionally but disappears the moment you need the same support, or the colleague who watches how carefully you handle conflict, then slowly starts routing problems toward you, knowing you will absorb them instead of pushing back. Or the moment you realize you are the one everyone trusts, but also the one everyone quietly relies on without ever acknowledging it. That is not coincidence, that is recognition. Once they identify that pattern, the next step is isolation. You prefer being alone. You think better that way. You process better that way. You tell yourself it is clarity, but what it actually does is remove witnesses. Now there is no one to interrupt the dynamic, no one to question what is happening, no one to give you an outside perspective. Everything becomes internal, and that is where manipulation thrives. Because now it is just you, and your thoughts are already working against you. You sit with it, you replay it, you try to understand it, then you question yourself. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I am being unfair. Maybe I should give them another chance. And each time you run that loop, your certainty drops, and their control increases. Then comes curiosity. You ask questions. You want to understand. You want clarity. But questions are data. Every time you ask, you reveal where your gaps are, what you do not understand, what you are trying to figure out. To you, it is learning. To them, it is a map. And once they see those gaps, they do not argue with you. They do not confront you. They fill them with their version of reality. And because it fits your need for logic, you accept it. Not because it is true, but because it makes sense. Then comes something even more subtle. You say, I do not know. You think it is humility, you think it is honesty, but in a social hierarchy, I don't know isn't humility. It's an invitation. To a predator, that phrase is a help-wanted sign for an authority figure to take over your reality. They hear a help-wanted sign for an authority figure. And they move fast. They step in with certainty, with answers, with direction. Not because they are right, but because you created the space, and once that space exists, they fill it again and again. Now they become the reference point, the explanation, the source, and every time you defer, that position gets stronger. You are not submitting intentionally, but the structure forms anyway. Then the tests begin. It looks small at first, a joke that feels off, a comment that crosses a line, a comment that feels like a microaggression disguised as a joke. They aren't trying to be funny. They are probing your perimeter to see if your high IQ will rationalize the insult away for them. And instead of reacting, you analyze it. Maybe they did not mean it like that. Maybe I am reading too much into it. That is the rationalization trap again. And they are watching closely. Because this is not about the joke. It is about your response. If you laugh it off, they push further. If you stay quiet, they escalate. And every time you do not react, they get confirmation. You will not challenge them. You will process instead. You will absorb instead. You will stay in your head while they operate in the moment. And that delay becomes their advantage. While you are gathering data, they are already executing. You think you are observing. They think you are slow. And by the time you have fully understood what happened, they are already 2 steps ahead. From their perspective, this is not random. They are not guessing. They are watching how long you hesitate, how often you question yourself, how easily you try to understand instead of act. They are not trying to understand you. They are measuring you. How long it takes you to respond, how quickly you try to resolve tension instead of creating it. How much discomfort you can absorb before you finally push back. And once they have that timing, they do not need to guess your next move. They already know it. The moment you pause instead of respond, they mark you. The moment you explain instead of confront, they advance. The moment you doubt yourself, they lock it in. And once they see that pattern, they stop testing. They start using. Because now they know your limits, and they know you will not enforce them. Then it shifts again. Late conversations, deep talks, emotional moments when your guard is lower. You are mentally active, but you are also tired. That is the low guard window. Your logic is still running, but your resistance is weaker. And that is when they introduce something bigger. Meaning, connection, purpose. A sense that this interaction is deeper than it looks. You are already wired to search for meaning, so you lean in. You start asking why this feels important, why this feels different, and that makes you easier to hook. They do not give you control, they give you meaning, so you do not question the control. From their perspective, this is the final stage. They do not need to convince you anymore. They already know how your mind will respond. They already know you will rationalize, delay, and adapt, and that is why they move quickly. Because once they identify the pattern, the outcome is predictable. By the time you realize what is happening, the structure is already in place. The pattern is already established, and breaking it feels harder than staying in it. Because now it feels like losing something. Not escaping something. That is why it feels like it came out of nowhere. But it did not. It was built step by step. Through your habits. Through your thinking. Through the way you process the world. It was never your intelligence that failed you. It was the belief that it protected you. You were not weak. You were readable, and once someone knows how to read you, they do not need to force anything. They just let you play your part. The moment you stop trying to understand a predator is the moment they lose their power over you. You will start noticing it everywhere. The pause before someone answers you. The way someone redirects instead of responding directly. The moment someone tests a boundary and waits. And once you see those moments clearly, you stop analyzing them and you start responding to them.